Hi, Wayne Chapin from Zerillion here, and this video I'm going to be doing is about DIY Microsoft Cloud and Google Search IT pros. I want to take you through what I see when we're talking to people and they've done DIY Microsoft Cloud or do-it-yourself Microsoft Cloud, and what they're usually set up like, and kind of my take on that, versus when somebody is finally throwing in the towel of trying to do Microsoft Cloud themselves, or potentially they know better already because they know what they don't know and they're scared of that, and then they're talking to us to make sure things get done right from the start. And they're working with us as a Microsoft Gold Tier 1 cloud solution provider. Okay, so I want to take you through that, kind of my bullet points, what I've seen in our own Microsoft Cloud practice here. And so hopefully what I can do is kind of give you some guidance so you know what you're getting into if you are doing DIY Microsoft Cloud versus what you potentially could do as far as getting things done right from the start if you work with a Microsoft Cloud solution provider. Okay, so let's go. DIY Microsoft Cloud. Typically, this is somebody that's purchased the cheapest subscriptions possible for Office 365, which are Business Essentials or Business Premium. And it's because they don't know what they don't know. Their idea of being up in the cloud was getting rid of that pain in the butt Microsoft Exchange server, the on-premise one, and moving to Exchange Online and letting Microsoft deal with that. They didn't do anything else with the subscription. If they got Business Essentials, then they said, well, we can get everybody a copy of Microsoft Office desktop apps. Then I don't have to deal with the volume licensing anymore. But that's where it stopped. Again, they migrated their on-premise email to Exchange Online, then they quit. They didn't train, get certified, or have any prior experience doing this. And it's deceptive because Microsoft has a really good tool to get email migrated from an on-premise Exchange server to Exchange Online, the Microsoft Cloud. And because the user doesn't see any difference, they were using Outlook before they migrated, and they were using Outlook after the company was migrated to Exchange Online. So there really wasn't any difference. It was all in the back end. That's where everything stopped because the IT pro who was handling that doesn't know anything else about what to do with Office 365 or Microsoft 365 or Azure Active Directory, things like that. Typically, they are a Google search engineer, and I don't say that affectionately. What I'm talking about is somebody who doesn't have any formal training, didn't go through any process as far as learning how to do these things right. They have limited experience and they Google search this, then they Google search that, then they Google search that. It's just piecemeal understanding of how to put things in. They don't have a complete vision of how the Microsoft Cloud works. Because let's face it, learning things isn't the most fun thing. Once you've learned it, it's fantastic, but learning it and going through the process is tedious and boring. But that's what most IT people are. They are Google search IT engineers. Or often, IT is not the primary role in the company for the person who did the migration. They are the quasi-IT manager, the operations manager, the finance manager, the sales manager, or the most seemingly technical person in the company. And then the owner of the company thinks, well, I can get my IT support by this person who I hired to do something else, and I'm going to get my IT support for much cheaper than hiring an outside company or hiring a full-time IT person. The irony, of course, is that is a very expensive way to handle your IT. You're going to pay the piper eventually. And I know that the DIY Microsoft Cloud person didn't get things set up properly because they don't even set up the most basic security system possible, which is multi-factor authentication. Imagine this scenario. Microsoft knows that you normally log in from a computer in Chicago, and today it sees you're logging in from Beijing, China, and you're logged in at the same time. So you're logged in from Chicago and you're logged in from Beijing, China. Microsoft can see that, and you are actually not in Beijing, China right now, but Microsoft sees, well, they don't have multi-factor authentication enabled, which is free and included on every subscription Microsoft has for Microsoft Cloud products. Every single one of them, even the cheapest ones, Business Essentials and Business Premium. You don't have multi-factor authentication enabled, so you just go ahead and let in whatever hacker has access to your username and password. And it's not hard for that to happen. Your users can go in, get a phishing email, give up their username and password, and it's floating around on the internet, and then people can go into mailboxes and see what they can do to get money out of a company. If at least the system could say, well, you know what, this person is logging in from a different country on a computer I've never seen them log on from before, I'm going to go ahead and challenge them real quick, and I'm going to ring the cell phone that's on record for this user. That could clear up so many problems for so many companies. Yet, whenever I ask, did you turn on multi-factor authentication, 98% of the time, it's no. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. And so with the DIY Microsoft Cloud engineer, also didn't do that either. All right. you really should enable that. They don't understand how to migrate files from their file server to SharePoint Online, OneDrive, or Teams. They'd love to do it. They'd love to get rid of that file server. And it's funny because comparing the technology that's inside an Exchange server versus the technology that's in a basic file server, I mean, the Exchange server is way more sophisticated than a file server. Yet the file server is the last thing that sits on that network because they cannot get it figured out how to move those files from that file server over to SharePoint document libraries, OneDrive, or Teams files. They want it to look like map drives. And I have several videos on this whole subject, okay? You can do it. That's the bottom line. But the DIY Microsoft engineer is just shut down in this whole process of figuring that out. So again, they get Business Essentials set up and they get Exchange Online going, and that's where it stops. They don't understand Azure Active Directory Premium, Intune, or retention policies. Azure Active Directory Premium is your gateway. It's your firewall into cloud services. Those hackers don't care about your firewall on premise. What they want to do is get into your cloud services. They want to get into your mailboxes. They want to get in your files. They want to see what they can do to sabotage your company and pull money out of your company. That's what they want to do. Azure Active Directory is your firewall. You got to look at it that way. And also Intune is how we control and manage all these computers. And also retention policies are how we back up your data and keep it safe from intentional or unintentional deletions or purges of emails or files. You only get those proper retention policies in the enterprise versions of Office 365 and Microsoft 365. You don't get them in the cheapo versions of Business Essentials and Business Premium. The DIY Microsoft engineer does not understand the Microsoft phone system. And quite frankly, their skills are dated. Typically, the IT managers that we're talking to are in their 40s and 50s. They've been around. They've moved up the food chain, all that sort of stuff. But their IT skills are based on keep the lights on IT work, just keep it up and running. And it's based on an on-premise system. And they're not at a point in their lives where they're going to spend 20 hours in the evenings working on figuring out how to learn new ways of making things work inside of a Microsoft cloud world. Or what they used to do when they were working on servers, they would spend 6, 7, 8 p.m. at night working on these things when they weren't working or they're having problems, and they start to build up some skills. They're not doing that stuff anymore. They're not getting up to speed with this new world of Microsoft Enterprise Cloud. The server world's going away, but in their mindset, they're still stuck in this on-premise server world. So they have dated skills. And here's the other thing. The DIY Microsoft Cloud engineer who is working direct with Microsoft or has an enterprise agreement, they are no priority at all with Microsoft. None. And here's what happens. They buy the cheapo versions of subscriptions, the cheapest ones they can find. Then they run into problems because they are not trained, don't have any real extensive practical experience, have no certifications, and then they're stunned when the response is really slow. They submit a ticket, they're having problems, 24, 48 hours go by, they're not getting anywhere with this. They're shocked. If you're DIY Microsoft Cloud and you're going direct with them, or you have an enterprise agreement, I talked about enterprise agreement in another upcoming video. The threshold to get in the bottom door with Microsoft direct with an enterprise agreement is 500 users. That is a really substantial company. You're on the bottom floor with Microsoft. Think about that for a second. Now let's transition over here and look at what working with a gold tier 1 Microsoft Cloud Solutions provider, or a CSP, is like. First of all, there's no difference in price from paying direct with Microsoft. And here's quite simply how it works. Microsoft knows they can't support all the world's businesses. They have to focus on their top revenue generating customers. And then below a certain threshold, a very high user account, they say, look, we need partners to take care of these customers. This is going to work a lot better. So that's how they scale. And that's how they've risen up again to be the world's most valuable company. So that's where you get a partner involved. And then what they say is, partner, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and cut you into some of this money that otherwise we would be collecting so you can take care of this customer. And so now that Microsoft partner, that cloud solution provider, they have a definite interest to make sure you are taken care of, because Microsoft is effectively paying us to make sure you're in good shape. And then you get the right cloud subscription, not just the cheapest subscription. Time after time again, what I see is an IT engineer who takes a strong sense of pride in finding the cheapest possible way to do something. I understand to an extent, it's like, whoa, you don't need all this. I know so much. I can show you this real sticks and tape and twigs way of doing things, and it'll get you going, it'll hobble along, and I'm going to save you 90% of your money. My entire career, I see this. I've never been that kind of engineer. Let's spend the money, do it right, so we don't have problems. We're going to get you set up with the right subscription. And for us, That's purchasing Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 and maybe adding in the Microsoft phone system. Those are big jumps in prices per user. Business Essentials is $5 per user per month. Microsoft 365 E3 is $32 per user per month. E5 is $57.50 per user per month. You add on the Microsoft phone system and the calling plan on that, top of that, $12. When you understand everything that's in it, it is an insane value. Microsoft does not make a Microsoft 365 E7 system. E5, top of the line. You can't do any better. One of the things that I get back is to say, well, Wayne, I don't need any bells and whistles. Let me tell you, if you got somebody that knows how to do this right, you don't have any bells and whistles. You have properly implemented Microsoft Enterprise Cloud IT, world-class, top-class IT. That's what you're getting. You just need to know that you're working with somebody who has the experience, the certification, the training, the know-how, and the vision to get it done right, which goes to my next point here. How about that vision? The DIY Microsoft Cloud engineer or the Google search engineer, they're just getting it going. Not having an Exchange server that's blowing up all the time on premise. They got Exchange going. They got everybody Office desktop apps. That's it. They don't know all the stuff that goes into Microsoft 365 E3 or E5 or the Microsoft phone system. And then for those Windows apps that are stuck on the network, let's virtualize them and get those moved into Microsoft Azure. That's a whole other subject. But at Cerulean, we can provide you that vision. We have calls all the time, all through the week, and I hear very similar things, and we know how to map this out for you. But you need somebody that can give you that vision. And I think often when I'm talking to people who are managers, they're not even involved in IT, but they're tasked with figuring out what they need. If they need a new IT company or how they want to manage IT, but they know they want to get in the Microsoft Cloud. The thing they really tend to latch onto is they understand the vision that we provide. They hear that we can set these things up, and we've done it time after time again. We know what to look out for. We know what the gotchas are, but you need that vision. If you're not getting that vision, then you're dealing with dated IT skills, whoever you're talking to. So we're going to get it done right the first time. Microsoft tracks everything we do by numbers. It's no joke. So you don't just become a gold partner. You have to have a minimum 4,000 Office 365 active subscriptions sold and serviced. And Cerulean, I think we're right about 6,000. And we have 7 Office 365 certified project engineers. And you have to have a minimum of 2 for the gold certification. And of course, you have to have extensive implementation and support experience. Well, how does Microsoft know that? They see the numbers racking up under your partner account. You have all these users, all these companies, all these subscriptions. Well, you must be doing something right. And then the other one is the Gold Cloud Partner, or Azure. You have to have a minimum of $100,000 a year in Azure sales. And at Cerulean, we're at $200,000 a year. And we have 3 Azure certified project engineers. You have to have a minimum of 2. And we have extensive implementation and support experience there as well. Azure fills the need when we have to take a legacy Windows application. So any business today, what they want to do is they want to run their business applications through a web portal or mobile apps. They do not want to have a Windows application, but some, they don't have a choice. The way we virtualize that, we build an Azure virtual network, then we create virtual desktops for users and run the apps that way. It works just perfectly. But that's a big component of Azure. And let me talk about Tier 1 direct versus Tier 2 indirect Microsoft CSP. So when you're a Microsoft partner like us and you start out in the Microsoft Cloud Solution Provider world, you start as a Tier 2 or indirect partner. That means you do not work with Microsoft direct. You work with one of Microsoft's large distributors. We used to have to do that. Wasn't fun. It wasn't fun at all. Eventually, we earned our way up to be invited into Microsoft's Tier 1 direct program. And it's an important point on that. It's an invite-only program. You have to put a lot of sales and service and projects up there on the board for Microsoft so they know that you're a serious partner. And on top of that, you have to then purchase advanced partner support. That is a $20,000 a year requirement as a partner. And it is not something that a Tier 2 partner has to deal with because they don't go to Microsoft Direct when there's any support issues. They go through their distributor. And again, we did that. I'm not a fan. We don't just have partner level support. We have advanced partner support, which is a whole different channel. We have a dedicated person that if we are submitting requests and we need to move this up, the lady who handles our account, she gets things moving fast. That's what we have with advanced partner support, and it is a requirement to be in the Tier 1 program. So we invest heavily to be a Tier 1 Gold Cloud Solution Provider with Microsoft, and it's an incredible relationship. And as a result, we are a high priority with Microsoft support. And as a result of that, Our clients are a high priority with Microsoft. If you work with us, you get to be in this bucket of other clients who are with us, and they're effectively gold level tier 1 customers with Microsoft through Xerillion, and you're going to have a much better experience than doing it DIY. Look, there's a lot of DIY engineers out there. There's a lot of Google search engineers. I'm not here to beat up on you guys, but I do strongly believe in certification, training, and gritting through it, because it is brutal. Once you get through it, you have a lot of confidence and your solutions will work a lot better. Now, if you're too busy to deal with that kind of stuff, it's understandable. And if you want it done right from the beginning, you can give us a call. You can email us at support@xerillion.com or call us 847-995-9800, and you can set up a call and we'll take it from there. Thanks for watching.